Welcome to the course. Let me now provide you with a course overview, that is the topics of coverage in this course. We'll be starting off with an introduction. I'll be providing the use cases for Apache Airflow. Where do we use Apache Airflow as such? Then I'll be discussing about what is a task and why the orchestration is required. Task orchestration is required. And then we'll be getting into the definition as such. We look at what is Apache Airflow. And post that, I'll be discussing about the environment options. There are two options. One is the custom built option, the other one is the cloud option. The custom built option is that you need to perform your own installs, you need to do additional setups, so that is a custom built option, or you need to have access to the Apache Airflow wherein you can practice. So that's a custom built option. The other one is of course the cloud option. The cloud option is using cloud.google.com. So they have a cloud composer which has Apache Airflow already built into it. So you can straight away start using the Apache Airflow with the cloud composer offered by Google Cloud. You can get access to the cloud.google.com. All that is required is an credit card authentication, but they don't charge for it initially. If you like that way, they provide you of course with the 300 USD credit which can be used over 1 year time period. So do visit cloud.google.com to know more details about this environment option. And of course in this course we would be using the cloud composer which has built-in Apache Airflow on itself. Then we'll be getting into directed acyclic graph, or it's called as DAG, which is the heart of the Apache Airflow. So we'll be looking at what is a directed acyclic graph. Post that, I'll be discussing about the Airflow architecture, the various components in it, and how it works. So this is more from an understanding perspective I'll be discussing, and then what is a single node and the multi-node architecture, the advantages of having the multi-node architecture. And then we'll be getting into the Google Cloud Composer. We'll be creating the Google Cloud Composer environment, which is the Apache Airflow. This is done just by a click of a button. Of course, you need to provide some few parameters, and the Apache Airflow gets created in about 30 to 45 minutes. It gets created. So you can use that to learn Apache Airflow. The point to remember is when the Apache Airflow is being used, yes, your credits gets used up. So in case if you are not using the Apache Airflow for maybe a few days or a few weeks, yeah, do delete that environment so that it doesn't get charged. And then I'll be presenting about the navigation details of Apache Airflow. I mean the look and feel, the screens available in Apache Airflow, in the Apache Airflow environment, which is the Google Cloud Composer in our case. Post that, we'll be start getting into the programming mode. That is, we'll start creating the DAG Python program. Before that we get into that, we'll understand how the Apache Airflow program structure will look like. It needs to have these elements, that is imports, arguments, setups, task and schedule. So all this we'll see that by taking an example. And once we have an understanding on this, we will then get into the different activities. Most of the activities will have initially might have a presentation. I'll be presenting the functionality and then the activity demonstration. We'll start off with the first program, Python program, which basically will have a bash scripting. The Unix will be calling the bash functionality, and of course the Python functionality as well. And then we'll be looking at what is a template functionality, and then usage of variables. We'll also have, and each of them will have an activity associated with that. And yeah, in case of variables, why do we use variables and where to use the variables, and then we'll be getting into calling of bash script in a different folder. In our case, we'll be seeing in a, if it is the bash script in a different folder, yes, then how to call that bash scripts. In a realistic environment, you might have it in a different machine altogether. Then that is where connection plays a critical role. You look at various forms of connection, and we'll also have an associated activity. Then we'll be discussing about the data pipelines, where it is commonly used, that I'll be presenting. And then as such, Google Cloud Composer is extensively used also in the Google Cloud environment. We'll take up BigQuery. BigQuery finds extensive use in big data, wherein you can upload the source data into a BigQuery, something like a relational database. Only thing is, BigQuery queries the data in much faster way because we'll be using the Google's environment. So I'll be providing an overview about what is a BigQuery, and even I'll be showing you a demonstration how to load data into a BigQuery by taking a simple example, and of course how we are going to use the Apache Airflow data pipeline for a BigQuery. This will be again an activity, and then we'll be discussing about XCOM, which is a cross communication between the tasks, and we have an associated activity as well. Then dynamic branching, what is dynamic branching in an activity, subdags along with an activity. A point to note here is I'll be demonstrating about 9 Python programs, DAG programs. Whatever the programs I have used, I have uploaded into the resources section, so you can download them and use that for your own learnings as well. And finally, some of the advanced functionality I'll be touching upon, like the SLAs, service level agreement, and the latest version of Apache Airflow supports Kubernetes execution. I'll be briefly describing about that, and then what is a sensor, I'll be discussing that, and finally a comparison between the Apache Airflow versus Apache Spark and Apache Beam. I have also provided quiz sections to check your knowledge of understanding. So in all, it's going to be an interesting course. So let's now begin the course. Thank you. Cheers.